Welcome back to Brownlow Books. It is a Monday, so it is time for a review. And I recently read The Starlet and the Spy by Ji-Min Lee. I think I'm saying that right. This book is translated from its original Korean, but the title apparently translates more literally as Marilyn and Me, and this was like the North American name they gave it instead. Right? Okay. So it opens, I guess, just after the Korean War, like half a year, 7 months, something, just after the Korean War. Marilyn Monroe is going to come and do a little tour of Korea while on her honeymoon in Japan. And our protagonist, Alice, is chosen as the translator and companion to accompany Marilyn on her visit. So that's the absolute base of it. So it takes place in 1954. 1954. But we get a lot of flashback. So it is before and during and just after the Korean War. So as expected, this book's a little bleak. So you can see here, it's not that big of a book. It's like 170 pages or so. It reads, it is such a slow burn that it reads more like a 400, 500 page book. But it's never so slow that I wanted to stop. The way that info is revealed in this book about Alice is very slow and very careful, very deliberate. It's just sort of like a dripping tap. It's just like dribbled out. Like, you're just like, okay, yes. Oh. Just like perfect little methodical spaces between it. Just enough to keep you going. And so I really loved that. Yes, I really loved that. But as expected for a book that kind of mostly takes place during a war, it is quite bleak. And there's a lot of devastation, and there's like a high military tension through all of it, which is obviously like very careful and very, purposely vague as well. And so the way it goes all together and like what we learn about Alice and like her time with Marilyn, which admittedly is not a lot, it's just the way it works together is perfection. I think a lot of people will be drawn into this book because it's Marilyn, because, she still has this huge kind of cult thing following, right? So there's probably a lot of people that would pick that up and be like, oh, it's going to be a story about Marilyn. It is not a story about Marilyn. It is a story about Alice. And so I think that is why it has some pretty low reviews and ratings on Goodreads. It has a 3.13 out of 1,306 ratings. And I honestly do think that it is that low because people expected something about Marilyn and did not get something about Marilyn. But I honestly think it could stand alone without Marilyn. I mean, Alice is this wonderfully complex human being, and like, I loved it. It's weird to say I loved it given the devastation. But yeah, like I said, it's short. It took me a longer time to read, and like, I never wanted to give up. Like, the slowest of burns, but like, the things you find out, the way everything pieces together, magnificent. Should you read it? Yes, I liked it. I still feels very weird to say I liked it. Like, it's all the trigger warnings you would expect to have during wartime. And not like one of them European wars. That sounded weird to say. I mean, the Korean War was fucking messy. That was a messy bitch. So, yeah. All the triggers, probably. that have anything at all to do with war, including the ones that you're like, that doesn't have to do with war, except sometimes it does. So yes, by the end, you're kind of, I want to say happy. You're not really happy. You're hopeful, at least. You know, you learn a lot of things about Alice, and you're just like, and by the end of it, you're like, good for you, girl. So it's vastly, vastly wide range of emotions in this book. Like, I picked this up for $6 at Indigo because it was a short little thing. $6, yeah, let's do it. And like, I got something I would pay a lot more for, first of all, and spend a lot more time reading, but like, just the way it went together. How many more times am I going to say that? I am repetitive. The way it went together, the way it was woven was just amazing. And I'm starting to wonder, you know, I don't read a lot of translated novels, I guess, or don't realize I am, maybe. But the ones that are seem to be vastly, vastly superior to North American writing. Yeah, Whoops. Okay, so The Starlet and the Spy, or also known as Marilyn and Me, apparently has been released some places with that title still, so yes, I do suggest, if you're looking for something deep and emotional with a slow burn and some romance? It's weird to say romance during wartime, but like, isn't that what most historical fiction for women ends up being? Yeah. I feel lots of things about this book, but it works out. So yes, do recommend. All right, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you around next time.